And Ole Miss coming your way in a matter of moments on this very special weekend. Today, college basketball honors Martin Luther King Jr.
Dear Dr. Martin Luther King, we are living in your legacy, and your message endures in our game. On the court, we strive for your dream of brotherhood and unity. We fight in your spirit of resolve and commitment. We love each other. And from that love, we rise or stumble as one. But let us not forget that as you were beaten, jailed, and ultimately assassinated, the game denied Black equality. The powerful lined up against freedom before a few brave teams heeded your call to action. I believe that today, Dr. King, you'd warn us that we have not reached the mountaintop. Injustice remains. Your legacy is hope and belief, but also radical change. In the game behind the game, we still must overcome.
And on this Dr. King weekend, we will come to you from the Sandy and John Black Pavilion here in Oxford, Mississippi. The Rebels, they are in dire need of a win, 0-4 to open up conference play after a 6-0 start. Georgia, a surprise at 12-4. And John, this one, there's a lot of matchups tonight to keep an eye on. But obviously, Terry Roberts and Matthew Morrell, the biggest one.
Yeah, two terrific guards. One we didn't know about last year. Terry Roberts, a transfer from Bradley, averaging 22 points a game in SEC play. And Matthew Morrell, we know he's outstanding. Can he be consistent shooting the basketball this afternoon?
Georgia Bulldogs coming off a hard fought. When I mean hard fought, it was a defensive battle against Mississippi State in their midweek game, but they won 58-50. Meanwhile, this Rebel basketball team, they are just trying to find anything. They've lost 5 straight, 4 of those in the conference. They're only winless team in the SEC. And talking to Kermit Davis, he says, we've been close. We've had leads in the second half. We just have somehow melted down. There's 2 or 3 minutes every game where we just seem to give it away.
Yeah, Dave, 2 teams that are outstanding on the defensive end. The difference has been offensively. Georgia's been able to average nearly the same amount of points in conference play as they did in pre-conference. Ole Miss has not. 6 points below their average when they got to conference games, only 62 points a game. Have not shot the ball well.
One little nugget of newsworthy significance. Deshaun Ruffin is out the Rebels today with an illness, so we won't see him. But we will see this 5 on the floor for Georgia. Terry Roberts, Cario Oquendo in the backcourt. And a turnover there as Braylon Bridges throws that one off the stanchion underneath the basket.
Good backdoor cut. Not a good pass. Had an opening.
So Abram gets the start, the super talented freshman from Port Arthur, Texas, along with Matthew Morrell, Ty Fagan, a former Georgia Bulldog, David Brakefield in that group, as well as we will head back the other way.
Well, 2 good looks early for Ole Miss, and they both missed them by the guys they want them to take the shot. Morrell with the jump shot, and then Abram, the guy you talked about, he's a great mid-range player. Missed an easy one.
Here's Fagan. Lost it right off his knee. It'll belong to Georgia. There is Kermit, now in his 5th year, coaching this Rebel basketball team, and obviously talking with him yesterday, just frustrated. I mean, he feels like the team has enough talent, and they just can't seem to get over the hump.
And you're almost waiting for an explosion, right? But off to a slow start already. 2 misses and 1 turnover. Ty Fagan, we talked about him. The transfer from Georgia, he played well against the Bulldogs last year.
And a hard foul will get Georgia to that free throw line, and M.A. Moncrief will step to the line. There is Mike White coming back home, place he played his college basketball. Also 7 years as an assistant coach on this Ole Miss staff. A lot of roots here in the Oxford area. Of course, last week we saw him. Last weekend we were with him, Georgia down in Florida when he returned to Gainesville, where he coached the Gators for 7 seasons. So we're just kind of on his reunion tour, I guess.
Yeah, he laughed when he saw us. He said, "Are you going to all my stops?"
His first job after playing here at Ole Miss was at Jackson State before he was called back home to Oxford.
Georgia outstanding defensively, man-to-man. Will switch once in a while, but not a lot. They stick close to their guys.
Here's Abram inside now.
Nice pass.
Yeah, nice work. Good pass inside. Kuba will get that basket. He's averaging just a little over 3 points a game. Here's Roberts. 6th in the conference in scoring.
Like, so good. So good at acceleration and changing the pace of dribble. Hesitates, pushes it through. Tough, physical.
This Georgia team has already doubled their win total from a year ago, both their overall record and their conference record. They were 1-17 in the league last year. And there is Abram with a nice little shot. There's some of the numbers on this Georgia team. Mike White has done a marvelous job. They've kind of been overshadowed in terms of surprises. Braylon Bridges not a surprise. He did that last year for the Bulldogs, but you know, Missouri's success out of the gate, certainly Kentucky's lack of success. You kind of lose track of Georgia's having such a wonderful season compared to what it was the last few years.
Yeah, LSU quickly on the start. They've stubbed their toe a couple of times in conference play, which they will. But yeah, not many talking about this Georgia team. It's an experienced team. They've got great leadership. We talk a lot about Terry Roberts now because of his ability to score and make plays, but they are deep enough. They'll play a lot of guys, average a lot of minutes. And what they do exceptionally well on defensive end, they rebound. They've got exceptionally well on defensive end, they rebound. They've got 8 guys on this team that average over 3 rebounds a game. That's saying something.
Matthew Morrell kicks it to Fagan. Back to Fagan. He just lost the handle. That's 2 turnovers for Ty Fagan, and then he got tripped up with Ty Fagan, and then he got tripped up with his own teammate. Kuba's slow to get up. Boy, it looks like he might have twisted an ankle. Boy, that was a strange stoppage right there. Georgia had the ball in the low block.
And Mike White's looking for an explanation also.
Usually,
the explanation in front of us was that the fact that they didn't continue to try to score. I'm not sure I agree. Goes down here, and then as the ball goes the other way, I think the official, what he was telling Mike White was, once they pulled it back out, then he blew the whistle. They were posting up.
They were setting up the post play. So they're getting some room. Right. That's unfortunate for Georgia. Usually they'll let that play on until they're kind of in an area where they're not attacking the basket. Bridges, though, in attack mode, threw it away. So instead of having a nice little shot in the low block, they turn it over and give it to Ole Miss, trying to take advantage, and they do so. Nice take, Miles Burns.
Now Burns is quick, coast to coast. And if Ole Miss can get out and run on their home court, they'll have success. They don't shoot it well, but they can in the open floor.
Their
back-to-back
administration.
Impressive.
Yeah.
When you do that, going back-to-back is difficult.
It really is incredible. Just an incredible story, and we'll see how long it can play out, man. Ride it while you can. Here, the Georgia Bulldogs, though, have lacked a little energy on the defensive end. Ole Miss missed their first 2 shots. Since then, Ole Miss has hit 4 straight. And Mike White's still a little concerned about that quick whistle.
Yeah, he is. He is. Maybe setting up for the next whistle. Right. Yeah. Or a whistle down the road.
Are you saying that maybe you could just give us the 2 because we were going to post up and I felt good about the play we had run? Instead, it's an 8-5 Ole Miss lead. Morrell's got his hands full today with Roberts. Here's Moncrief working on Brakefield.
But great job by Brakefield to keep Moncrief away from spinning. Had a low post. Shot clock winded down.
Here's Holt, 4 on the shot clock. Off the front of the rim, tapped around, Brakefield with a rebound.
And this Ole Miss team will push, especially in this building. They've got to find easy ways to score because they struggle so much in a half court.
Brakefield quick catch and shoot. Couldn't get it to go down. And rebound to Moncrief. Well, Moncrief, he brings a little passion to the paint, doesn't he?
You know what? It's interesting, Dave. We're going to see a lot of bodies in this game. Both teams play, both coaches play. A lot of players, a lot of minutes.
Moncrief. Anselem trying to get it back inside to Moncrief with 3 on the shot clock, and it works well. Patient offense from Georgia.
Yeah, tough shot. Moncrief has the ability when he posts up to make some difficult shots, but he's got to learn to hold his position, and then when he turns, kind of get the shoulder in the defender. Kind of clears probably for an easier shot.
Kennis wearing that face mask after a facial injury in practice before the Memphis game. He's certainly healthy, but wears it as precautionary measures. As Brakefield hammered on the way to the basket, he'll head to the free throw line.
Good ball movement offensively, but also good defensive rotation. Brakefield, they got to him quickly. He shot the 3 ball quite well this year, especially in conference play. So he puts it on the floor and he attacks. Holt picks up the foul.
Jamin Brakefield out of Jackson, Mississippi. Started, of course, at Duke. Second year here with the Rebel program. And averaging just a little bit less than 9 points. But he's playing at a really high level for Ole Miss. Maybe playing as well as anybody on this roster right now.
Well, as much as everybody has struggled shooting the ball, especially deep, he's shooting over 50% beyond the three-point line in conference play, which ups his numbers to right around 40%. He was the first guy of either team in the arena this morning. He was here about 45 minutes before the next guy came in. And so confident, likes how he's playing, but keeps working it.
That foul will go against T.J. Caldwell. 2 shots coming up for Roberts.
Roberts, a transfer from Bradley, has that ability. Whoever we talked about his stop and go. He keeps a defender on his heels. And when he excels, he has the ability to get into the paint and draw contact. You take a look at his numbers. This is a transfer that a lot of people wanted around the country. But I'm not sure even Mike White would agree that they didn't know he would be this good. He's tough defensively. He'll fight you. And offensively, he runs this Georgia squad.
Of course, he also started at Florida Southwestern State in junior college before going to Bradley, which happens to be the same school where Cario Oquendo played.
Yeah.
So that certainly helped having Cario on board to get him to Athens.
It's going to be interesting. Oquendo was scoreless in their last game out against Mississippi State, only played 16 minutes. And he is a guy that scores a basketball. We'll see how he does this afternoon. He's not yet taken a shot.
Allen, that won't go. Holt grabs that rebound off to Hill. Justin Hill, the transfer from Longwood.
Had a good game against Mississippi State.
Nice long rebound into the hands of Jabri Abdul-Rahim. Hill through traffic and fouled on the way up. Bodies go flying everywhere. And that foul will go against Robert Allen.
Talked about Hill playing well against Mississippi State. 12 points, a couple assists, a steal. Shot the ball well, but more importantly, he was 4 of 4 from the free throw line. And down the stretch in that second half, this Georgia team, 18 of 19 from the foul line to secure that victory.
Ingram will check into the game. That'll get M.A. Moncrief to the Georgia bench for a few moments. We talk about a couple of really stout defensive teams. Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Well, they don't let you score easily. I mean, they make it tough, physical, active. Little three-quarter court pressure. Back to man-to-man.
There's T.J. Caldwell, another one of those talented freshman guards out of Dallas, Texas. Perhaps the best defender among their point guards.
Yeah, terrific athlete.
Good look there, but just off the mark for Morrell. It's kind of been his story the last 6 games.
Yeah, he has played well. He shot the ball well inside of 3. And the free throw line, he's nearly perfect at 90%. But outside of 3 is really struggled.
High arching shot, a little too strong.
Tough shot.
Burns. Crossover, gets to the logo and knocks that one home. Miles Burns averaging about 7 points a game, 6.5 rebounds.
An unusual transfer in that he came from an NAIA school, Loyola in New Orleans. 4-time All-American there.
Yeah, his numbers in NAIA basketball were off the charts.
And he still does the same things here. Steals, offensive rebound.
Ingram, lucky that one found his teammate. Anselm able to get it to go down. Frank, the transfer from Syracuse, averaging 3 points a game. It's his first basket. Georgia up by 3. Alley-oop, McKinnis can't finish. Anselm with the rebound. Georgia with a little bit of a run out. Don't see this very often here in the first half. Ole Miss gets back. No reset with Hill.
Why both teams so well coached, they get back defensively. Hard to find early easy baskets or even easy looks. A lot of half-court sets. Now, how well can you execute? How well can you guard?
Boy, a careless turnover there. Ole Miss is making Georgia work for it. That's a 4th straight possession. Georgia's been under 10 seconds on the shot clock, but they lead by 3. Knight's first year as the Georgia head basketball coach, but really his collegiate career got started right here in Oxford, just across the street at the old Tad Smith Coliseum, which is still standing upright, and led Ole Miss to 3 NCAA tournaments as a player. And boy, you want to talk about a guy that was a tough character on the floor. It was Mike White.
Yeah, a bit competitive, and that hasn't left him at all as a coach. If you watch him practice, but an outstanding player, and he had a great time here in Oxford.
We were rehashing some of his days and talking about some of the guys that he played against, and one of those was Wes Flanagan, whose younger brother Jason played at Ole Miss with Mike, but he was talking about how Wes was a senior and he was a freshman, and Wes was one of the toughest guys to ever play in this league, and how he just beat him up as a freshman. Learned a lot back in the day. I'm sure you had a guy or two that was always a tough guard.
You know what's fun is when you look back and you see that person, whether in the same job or same business, and you reminisce about games and situations. And you remember play-by-play, right? Both of you are talking about. Remember when they took him out? Yeah, remember when? And that's what when you talk and Mike White today. We talking about play-by-play. It was kind of fun.
Talking about specific games and just moments in games. And anyway, it was good catching up with him, reminiscing a little bit about his career here. And of course, spent a lot of time with Andy Kennedy, 7 years as an assistant coach here at Ole Miss as well. A lot of new faces, 6 of them in the Southeastern Conference. Here's Caldwell, elevates.
Nice, really nice. Mid-range, jump shot, elevation. Great athlete at 6'4", can go over the top of most guards. Tough call. He can really defend. And he's got size over Justin Hill, and Hill at 6 feet got in the lane, but Caldwell, I thought he had good position. I thought he reached over the top. The referees did. I know analytics doesn't like mid-range jump shots, but there are certain guys that's the game. And Ole Miss has a few of those kind of guys.
Kermit Davis letting him know about that last call.
Yeah, he's not going to stop. But the challenge is, the reason it's a tough call is because, and maybe there was a late reach, but it's almost a bailout for the offensive player that has nowhere to go that uses dribble. And the defensive player played it perfectly.
Georgia 7 of 8 at the free throw line. 22% of their points today from the line.
I love Abrams' game. I absolutely love his game. Smooth with the left hand when he runs a point position. He can score in the mid-range. He can go to the rim. He can attack. Obviously, Kermit's had a hard time with all the players certain minutes. But with Deshaun Ruffin out this afternoon, that will help minutes for some of these guards.
Ingram backs it out to Hill. Again, shot clock in single digits. Hill trying to create something. Takes it himself, and it's short. Didn't touch the rim, and it'll belong to Ole Miss.
So the lefty, who had a terrific early start to his career at Ole Miss in the tournament against Stanford, he went for 26 points. And he's capable. And it's fun to watch him play.
Ole Miss went down to Orlando, played in the ESPN events tournament down there, went 2-1, but looked really good in the process. Abram, one of those guys that stood out in that weekend of action where he averaged 20 points, 3.5 assists, 3 rebounds. But when they came back from that trip down to Orlando, it's just been a different team for some reason. Loose ball, another turnover by Ole Miss.
And it's always hard to pinpoint, but again, they have a lot of players, play a lot of minutes, trying to equalize minutes in that tournament. In Orlando, Ruffin again wasn't playing.
Hill with a nice reverse.
So when Ruffin didn't play, there's more minutes to a guy like a freshman, Amari Abram, who this afternoon they've handed him the basketball, said run the show. And you can tell by the way he's playing, he's confident.
Whew, how about that little nifty move right on cue?
He's really good. Understands his strengths and weaknesses, does not back up and shoot a whole bunch of threes. If it's open, he'll shoot it, but he's in attack mode. Like I said, mid-range is great. Explosion to the rim is great.
Georgia now 5 of 11 from the field. Ole Miss 8 of 14.
The other part about Abram, I didn't like that shot, but at 6'4", he's got good size at that point position.
So substitution as Mbala comes on the floor for the Rebels. 6'7", 220-pound senior from France getting some work. Didn't play in their last outing against Auburn.
Another physical body inside.
Breakfield free throw line. Mbala comes in, gets a rebound. Put back, didn't go down. Roberts. Boy, he is a hard guard.
Yeah, it's not his overall quickness. I think it's his way he controls the defender by stopping and going, exploding when he wants to.
A lot going on with that possession for Roberts, and not a good shot. Mike White just shakes his head a little bit on that possession. Matthew Morrell back the other way. Bad shot down there leads to a layup down here.
And Dave, it's never really a good offensive possession when 4 guys are watching, one guy just dribble. When you're trying to get into something and you don't get a good shot, now you've got to get back defensively, and you don't jog back a little bit, and we know Matthew Morrell can make you pay. You have to play him for the jump shot at some point. He's strong, he's physical, he doesn't mind contact, and as I mentioned earlier, he's nearly a 90% free throw shooter.
Morrell out of Memphis, Tennessee, 10th in the conference in scoring, 1st in free throw percentage. Plays a ton of minutes. He's 3rd in the league in minutes played per game, over 33.5 minutes per outing.
He's kind of like a throwback player, and I say that because he just gets better every year. In the modern world, we want, the 18-year-olds, who's an NBA guy, when's an NBA guy? Matthew has gotten better every year. Now in his junior season, he's one of the better guards in this league.
First three-pointer by either team comes from Mardrez McBride. 33% three-point shooter. That's number 18 on the year. That one rolls through the cylinder. Nice shot from James White.
A friendly touch for James White, another athletic. White now in his sophomore season.
He's out of Conyers, Georgia.
It's about 10 minutes a game for Kermit's squad.
Back-to-back threes for the Dog. That was Jabri Abdul-Rahim knocking it home. His 22nd three of the season. So after both teams combined to miss 6 straight to start this game, the Dogs have hit 2 in a row. And they lead it by 2, 23-21, our tally. Miss has lost 5 5 straight, 4 in a row in the league, and just 2 of 8 in their last 10. And it's been a tough go for Kermit Davis. This is a team that had to start the SEC season with 4 straight quad 1 games.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, that'll get you, right? Now, listen, they played Tennessee really well.
Yeah, they did. Had opportunities, then you go to Alabama. We know that's going to be a hard game no matter what. They travel to Mississippi State, a team that will just absolutely devour you from the defensive end. And then Auburn had one of their better halves of basketball in that second half.
Greg Field had his shot blocked, hit the deck. Dogs back the other way. Terry Roberts with it. 4 points for Terry. Hands it off to Abdul Rahim. Georgia's last 2 possessions, 3-pointers. Neither team has led by more than 3 here in the first half. And again, Kerry Oquendo's on the floor. Scoreless tonight as well. Hasn't played a bunch.
Well, and you think he did not play, obviously did not score against Mississippi State. Didn't mean he didn't play well. But he is a scoring type player. And the game down at Florida, he was only 3 of 10 from the field, so he didn't play well. All I'm saying is, we know how good he is.
Yeah.
And you get to his explosiveness to this team, it takes Georgia to another level.
Roberts trying to set up this offense. Shot clock at 10 now. Pull up 3. That's no good. Again, probably a shot.
Well, the shot clock's running down. The other part is it's hard to get into your offense against a good defensive team, and you're getting in late. It's going to force some bad shots. But staying with it right there.
Good work by Mbala, who came in averaging 4 points a game. Boy, that one misses everything by McBride. Rebels back the other way, tied at 23.
That's a quick, long jump shot. Now you better get back defensively because this guy will make you pay.
Abram off to a good start with 6 points. He's hit 3 of 5 from the field.
Don't you just love that mid-range game he has?
Excuse me, 4 of 6.
He gets it to 12 to 15 feet. He's automatic.
Didn't give him credit on that last one. 8 points for Abram on 4 made shots. A couple of assists as well. Abdul Rahim back to Roberts. Shot clock at 3 and another tough shot, and Anselm with a chance to put back, can't go. Abdul Rahim had his hands on it, and then a foul as McBride pushes Abram into the stanchion, but Roberts taking some shots that maybe.
Well, the Rebels are doing what they want to do on the defensive end. Gets Georgia in a late shot clock. They're aggressive. They're hedging hard on the screens. There's the.
All right, let me ask you this. Is 6 seconds the time to launch that shot, or do you still have a chance to?
Well, here's the hard part. When you're a guard and you're shorter, and the opening's there, that's why guys take it, because it's there. I say you got to get into your stuff more quickly. Get into your offense and get stuff moving. A little bit like this possession here by Ole Miss. How quickly they got into it. They got a good shot. That's not Abram's strength, but he's a solid three-point shooter. But the ball for Georgia has been sticking just a bit to where they're just standing.
Boy, Georgia really struggling there in this sequence. Offensively, Bridges just threw that one away. Bridges 2 points for the Bulldogs, and Bala's been active since he's checked into this game.
A solid defense by Moncrief. Get bumped, get pushed, stayed with it, made the block.
Bala hadn't scored in SEC play until today. Got his first basket.
Let's go back to Oquendo. He has not taken a shot. Surprising. Ole Miss, he took 2 shots. Tough finish.
Now that is a strong take to the basket by Roberts.
He's holding his right hand, and was it his hand that hit the backboard?
Yeah, you could hear it. He slapped the backboard. Boy, it is a quiet Pavilion. Shot clock at 4. And
Good
Burns.
take. Yep, good take.
Offensive foul against Burns.
Roberts with the take. I'm not sure it was his hand hit the backboard, but he hit something. But that's what Terry Roberts has done all season long in his first year as a Georgia Bulldog. 13 times he's been in double figures. 9 straight, 4 times over 20 points. Confidence gets higher and higher, and he's been spectacular in SEC play.
Looks like we're trending toward a rather low-scoring affair today. Here's Morrell. Threw it away. Fagan on his right just couldn't catch up to it.
Boy, terrific defensive play by Matthew Morrell. They had to switch. Oquendo came over the top. They switched. Morrell played his right hand because Oquendo is fabulous going downhill with the right hand, and it made an awful play. Get back. He should have attacked the rim himself.
Roberts dribbled it off his foot, scrambled on the floor. Georgia comes away with it. Here's McBride. It is not the prettiest offensive display we have seen this year, but it's close. 25 apiece, 3:40 to go before halftime.
Pat Bradley, Alyssa Lang, and Ron Slay in the studio with us for the first time. Plenty to talk about on the halftime show. But Ron, what have you seen so far in this one?
Well, this game, first of all, is an up-and-down pickup game style of basketball. You gotta love it. It is what it is.
Sonny, how does a shooter get off shots against 2 tough defensive teams?
Shooter, he's got to tell this guys to get him open. Give me some space. And get up and down the floor, right? Get up and down the floor. Once there's a missed shot, move the basketball. Have more movement. Ball gets stuck so many times in today's game because there's more dribbling than probably that used to go on.
Do we blame James Harden for that?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm not putting my hand up if you said you're playing pickup and James is on your team.
Yeah.
I'll go on the other side.
Tied at 25. This Georgia team's had some struggles getting in an offensive set this afternoon, but credit Ole Miss. I mean, the Rebels have allowed 70 points only 3 times this year.
Yeah.
70 or more points 3 times this year.
These are 2 very good defensive teams, so it's not easy to create. But if you get an opportunity, the ball really has to move. You've got to be better against some of these good defenses.
4. Left-handed shot from Moncrief, no good. Rebound pulled out of there by Brakefield.
And decent look. Brakefield got hit in the lip. He's bleeding. Got hit pretty well. I don't know if it was the elbow. Moncrief was looking at his right elbow just now.
Steve Anderson just spotted some blood in front of that Georgia bench.
I'm not sure, Dave. Show that, maybe we see that again.
Brakefield was bleeding pretty good by the time he got back to the bench. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Wow. And he knew it right when he got the rebound.
But you know he got the rebound now.
He got the rebound. I saw it because he ran right in front of us. I didn't see it.
So they're going to have to take him
He's
back.
got a mouthful of blood.
Kuba will check in. So Brakefield back in the Ole Miss locker room. It's a shame. He's been one of their better performers of late. He's not on the floor right now with 3:25 to go before halftime.
Keep an eye on Ty Fagan, the Georgia transfer a couple years ago.
14 in white.
He's a guy that can get on a hot streak. He had it against Auburn, hit 3 or 4 threes. He did it against this Georgia team last year, his old teammates. But this last 3 minutes, don't be surprised if he tries to find a way to get some buckets.
Shot clock in single digits. Here's Abram. Matthew Morrell. Bounce pass inside to Allen. Shot clock violation. That'll get the Georgia bench up, clapping for the defensive effort.
Are there not some opportunities, though? You know, there's chances to take shots. And if you don't take a good look, you're probably not going to get a better look.
So Hill now at the point, gets it to Oquendo. And Oquendo, his second shot of the game is no good. And quickly Fagan back, goaltending went through the cylinder anyway, but boy, Fagan flying down the floor.
Yeah, dead sprint, and Amari Abram passed right on the money. That's what Ole Miss can do. They've got good athletes. They can run the floor. They can push it. They've got to look more often, even on a made basket. You don't have to go shoot it, but you can push. They've got enough athletes that can attack their rim, Ty Fagan being one.
Georgia shooting 34%, 8 of 23. Ole Miss 52%. They are 13 out of 25 today. Ole Miss has shot 50% or better in the first half 4 times this season. Entry pass, Bridges double teamed in a hurry, back to Holt. Swinging around, Roberts wide open 3. Reset for the Dogs.
Solid defensive side, though, by Ole Miss. They help, they recover, they get back to shooters. Just did not secure the rebound.
Roberts, shot clock at 7, takes it to the rack.
Wow, what a
High
tough
off
shot.
the basket.
Wow, when you're driving to your left, you're kind of assuming that he'll take a left-handed hook. Went back to that right hand, put it high off the glass.
Tied at 27. We've been tied 4 times. We've had 11 lead changes here in the first half. And Bridges, count the basket. He'll step to the free throw line.
As a big, Bridges runs rim to rim. What do I mean? He sprints and tries to get low post position. And if they can get it to him, look at how quickly the double team comes. That's because Bridges can turn to the left shoulder or the right shoulder. Finish right-handed or left-handed. That time, he saw the double team. He stepped, got contact, finished with the left.
Bridges, tell you what, you see, young man's just an unbelievable offensive skilled player. But what he did against Mississippi State was a crazy number. Against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State in his 100th game, he picked up his 1,000th point and his 500th rebound in his 100th game.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did he buy a lottery ticket?
He should have.
Is he from Maine?
He might be from Maine and now is a billionaire and doesn't know it.
Good switches up top by this Bulldog team. Moncrief, very good with his feet. Long, rangy, can stay with guards. Good backdoor cut. Wow.
Boy, Morrell is going to throw that one down. He'll head to the free throw line instead.
And that was Robert Allen, a guy that's had lots and lots of injuries over the years. Good pass.
Well, Tuesday night's college basketball doubleheader starts at 6:30 Eastern. We're featuring the second game as Brandon Miller leads number 4 Alabama. Tide have won 4 straight against Liam, Robbins, and Vanderbilt. It's 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central right here on the SEC Network and, of course, the ESPN app. Joe Lenardi has Alabama as the number 2 overall seed heading into the weekend. They're playing at a whole nother level right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. The games they've won this year, right? The teams they've knocked off, the number 1 wins against number 1 teams. Carolina and then Houston. The things they've done, it's as good a team as any in the country.
Under a minute to go here in the first half. 1 point Georgia lead. Hill deep 3 off the rim, no good, tapped around and right back to Bridges. He'll reset. Moncrief will hand it to Roberts. Roberts A little ballet dance down there in the low block. Can't get it to go. Roberts 3 of 9 from the field here in the first half.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Not a good shot. And now Ole Miss, we'll see what they have at the end. You've got Abram, who's had a solid first half of the basketball, the lefty. He goes left. He's pretty strong going to the rim. Does like the mid-range when he crosses over to go to his right.
Deep 3 by White, too strong, and that'll do it for the first half. Well, coming to this game, we felt like the first team to 60 might have a chance to win it. Georgia halfway there. They lead it by 1, 30-29 here at halftime as Ole Miss trying to snap this 5-game losing streak. Wasn't pretty, but it was close. Let's get you to the studio.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Not pretty, but definitely close as we welcome you into the SEC Halftime Report. Pat Bradley, Ron Slay, Alyssa Lang here with you as we head to Knoxville immediately. Tennessee looking for their 6th straight win. Hosting Kentucky, they really need one. First half, Vols got out to an 8-0 run. CJ Frederick.
If they get him going, you can shoot decent on the road.
Shooter. That's part of it.
He needs to put him up. That right there, right? Great.
Vescovy for 3. Into the half, Kentucky was up 4 guys. Oscar Shibwe here with the jab step. Hits a nice jumper from the post. Cats up 7.
That's a new addition to his game. If he could do that, he may can play at the next level. He might not have come back last year.
Plavcic.
Talk about new addition.
Come on.
Euros.
Come on.
Watch it.
Right hand hook. That's the boom room, baby. That's not the post. That's the boom room.
Sounds like Ron Slay's been getting in the gym with him, man.
I wish.
Tie game right now at Thompson Bowling Arena. 41 apiece. A Tennessee team that certainly prides itself on its stifling defense against a Kentucky team that, as we said, is really in need of a win. And this one would certainly be a momentum-boosting one. Pat Bradley, what have you seen so far from the first half and change?
Well, I think Kentucky settled in defensively, and Tennessee started that game out 8-0 like they've done in the past. Yeah. But Kentucky has the pieces. Yeah. Ron, it's just energy, effort, awareness. And if they can establish themselves on the defensive end, that loss against South Carolina was all about the inability to defend the ball screen. To me, that's communication, energy, and effort. If they're able to do that in Knoxville, it'll give them a chance to win the game. We know how difficult it is to win there, but at least they get a chance.
Yeah, if you're Tennessee, you don't want to give them any belief. You don't want to do that going into this game. 8 turnovers early in the first half, that's a problem. You can't do that. 2 in the second half, that's how you get back into it. You got to rebound the ball, play Tennessee basketball, knock down shots. That's the easiest part of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned rebounding.
It should be.
Kentucky's out rebounding Tennessee 34-18 at this point. That's not what we're used to from Rick Barnes.
Well, I think, no, it isn't. But for Kentucky, their offense has also sort of been just not in sync, right? They look indecisive. And today they got to the free throw line. Right now, 12 of 13 from the free throw line. I thought the aggressiveness of Chris Livingston coming in off the bench, a freshman, he's starting to figure things out, but just a great athlete. He can get to the rim, he can rebound, he runs. So Kentucky's always going to have those athletes length, right? It's always going to give you a chance.
Yeah, and you look at a guy like Shibwe calling his teammates out. This is how you respond. You go out there, be aggressive, and you help him do the things that he needs to do, and that's rebounding. Be able to get out and run, play that physical style of basketball, and finish. He's finishing, they're finishing. It's looking good for him.
To your point, earlier in the week, after that South Carolina loss, Shibwe said he asked his teammates, hey, we got to see more fight. Put a walk-on out there, Coach Cal, if you have to. And we've certainly seen that.
I think a lot of their
so
walk-ons have the GPA, though.
Yeah, well, I think their walk-ons are still pretty good, right? It's Kentucky. Still with a 1-point lead over Tennessee. Just under 8 minutes left to go in the second half. We got more coming your way on the SEC Halftime Report. Plenty of other basketball games across the SEC, including this one. Matthew Morrell keeping his Ole Miss team in it. Georgia leads by 1. Welcome back into our SEC Halftime Report. Now entering the day, Alabama and Tennessee were tied at the top of the SEC standings with 4-0 records in conference play. Kentucky, the media's preseason pick to win the regular season championship, is now near the bottom of the standings, just 1 place up from Ole Miss, sitting at 0-4 at the bottom of the conference. As we welcome you back in, this is not necessarily where we expected to be at this point, middle of January. Ron, I'll start with you. What's the most surprising part of what we've seen in conference play so far to you?
the most surprising to me is Kentucky. Them falling down and being at the bottom of the SEC, you don't see that, and you don't expect that. You need them for the overall landscape of college basketball to be good. Everybody else thrives on it, but I did expect Tennessee and Alabama to be there. I expected Arkansas, outside of their injuries, to try to climb the ladder, but A&M is a big surprise also.
Yeah, A&M. But Slay, here's the thing. Kentucky hasn't been that for about 3 seasons now.
It's true.
Right? They've struggled. And Texas A&M started the season in the top 25, AP top 25. They went through a couple of rough spots. I think it just goes to show at January 14th, it's still going to be a lot of changes with transfers. How do you find the chemistry? A lot of these coaches, we got 5 new coaches, 6 Mike White at a different school. So we're going to see still a lot of movement.
And we've talked about Kentucky for the past couple of weeks, right? Are we panicking? No, we can't yet because there's still so much time left in conference play, as you just said. All right, we're about to get you back out to the second half of Georgia Ole Miss in Oxford. Georgia so far with a 1-point lead. McBride with the 3.
Moments away from second half basketball here in Oxford, Georgia on the road. They've dropped 16 straight true road games. Trying to end that one here. Lead by 1, Dave Neal, John Sunvolt. Glad you could join us today from what is a beautiful day here in Oxford. It's always a beautiful day in Oxford.
Always nice.
Listen, we knew this was going to be a defensive battle. What do you make? I mean, is this played out kind of how you envisioned it? What did you take? What's your take on the first 20?
Yeah, because I think both teams are good defensively. You don't get easy baskets against either team. The other part is, if you get them in a half-court game, neither team they're not great shooting teams. But we do have a couple point guards that are going at each other. And Terry Roberts, who we've talked about, has been terrific in SEC play, had a solid first half. Took a few unwanted shots, but he still scored the basketball. 8 points in that first half, a couple assists. And on the other end, Amari Abram taking over the starting position. I thought he was really good. Off the bounce in the mid-range game, got to where he wanted to go. Also had a couple assists, 8 points. Solid. Again, neither team's getting easy baskets, so you try to think who gets easy ones. The numbers are pretty close all the way across the board, except Ole Miss has not made a 3-point shot.
Tell you what, Ole Miss also first time this year did not connect on a 3-pointer in the first half. Overall, though, shot it pretty well, 48%. You can live with that as a coach. And defensively, you kept Georgia at 36% from the field. Although the teams combined for 9 assists, just 9 assists in that first half and 13 turnovers.
It's a little bit when Auburn was here this week against Ole Miss. Which team gets on a little run? And Auburn did in this building. So is it Ole Miss on their home court? Can they get on a little bit of run? Can they get a separation of 8 to 10 points at some point? Great start of the second half.
Javius McInnes throwing it down on the opening possession to start the second half. See if that doesn't get a little momentum on the Ole Miss side.
And quickly, Mike White goes for substitution. Somebody was not ready on that first play.
Moncrief working hard.
Tough, physical. Good start to this second half by both teams.
Brakefield, who got a busted lip in that first half, went to the locker room, obviously got that cleaned up, back on the floor to start the second half. Here's Abram, shot clock down to 5. Well, they got to let him be a ball player.
It's so nice that he can go to that strong hand, and a lot of shooters can't go to their strong hand for that shot. A lot of them like to go across the other direction, but that's an easy score for him.
He's had a couple of those looks. Some of those he's passed up to get to a teammate, but this is just making a play.
Yeah, he can bounce off the bounce, take it either direction. Got the defender on his heels, and then simply makes it look quite easily.
6'4", 190-pound freshman out of Port Arthur, Texas. Kermit Davis saying he's had 2 really good days of practice. A 4-star, top 100 player coming out of high school. Matthew Morrell, quiet in the first half. Off the front of the rim, loose ball, and taken there by Oquendo.
Dave, it's amazing. You get a conference play, and everybody knows each other. They've been well scouted, even the new players.
Bridges.
But how tough it becomes to score conference play. How valuable are possessions, each possession, if you're going to try to win games.
Morrell just can't seem to find it from behind the arc. Matthew Morrell now 0 for 2. He is now 6 for 42 over his last 6.5 games. That's a 14% clip.
And it's tough because you can't tell him to stop shooting. His strength probably mid-range game and getting to the free throw line.
Roberts off the back of the rim. Tapped around right to Morrell. That one no good. Long rebound out of bounds, and it'll belong to Georgia.
So both teams, their shooters are getting open looks. They're not making those three-point shots. Amari Abram has been perfect inside the three-point line when he gets to that mid-range game. Outside, he's not been able to hit one.
Georgia +3 in the rebound department this afternoon. 21 to 18. Roberts.
Good defense by Abram.
Morrell will try it again. Got it! As he throws his arms up in the air like, finally! Timeout, Georgia.
Well, a good break. Abram thought about it, gave it to Morrell. Both had missed before. Morrell knocks in a three. Ole Miss on a little bit of a run.
The Rebels, time for our Mayhem moment, brought to you by Allstate, and certainly this is it a matter of moments ago. Matthew Morrell finally, watch his reaction. Arms up. I finally made one. It has been a struggle for Matthew, who is really good three-point shooter, and talking to Kermit Davis, he's like, he's got to keep shooting. He's our best shooter. It's just he's struggling right now. This is a guy last year that was really good. Led the team in three-pointers last year. Shot 38% from behind the arc.
So think of this, Dave. His last two games, he's 11 for 17 from 2 and 12 and 13 from the free throw line. In the last two games, 19 points against Mississippi State, 24 against Auburn. But in those games, he's 3 of 15 behind the three-point line. So the tough part for a guy who's shooting the ball or a scorer is that you're in a little bit of a slump mentally with that long one, but the rest of the game's really good.
Yeah. Well, it tells me that he stays locked in despite the lack
Correct. Great point.
of success.
He's not letting that miss determine how he plays.
Abdul Rahim, again, shot clock in single digits. That's a tough shot. Morrell the rebound.
Another good defensive play by Abram.
Well, I have just been thoroughly impressed with Abram. My first chance to see him in person, and he is a really good basketball player. Not just for a freshman,
Correct.
but he looks like he belongs.
He's really good. Going to the basket. Again, these teams are just difficult to score against. Inside, if you're off balance. If you're going in one-legged, you'd better be the highest jumper in the building to get one off.
Corner three off the mark there from Miles Burns.
I'll tell you what, the execution, the passing, the inside out, everything on that play except for the missed shot, everything looks good.
Boy, Kentucky's up 8 with 3 minutes to go.
How about that?
In Knoxville.
So you're saying they're not dead? Big Blue Nation, are they waking up today?
They will be awake today, I promise you that. Abram off the mark. Offensive rebound and putback. Well done there by Jamin Brakefield. 7-0 Rebel run. Largest run of the day by either team.
Bulldogs got caught watching that ball just kind of in the air and off the rim. Nobody went for it.
Oquendo knocking home a three.
Hey, welcome to the game. Good. I love Oquendo's game.
His first basket in a game and a half.
How many shots has he taken today?
3.
Yeah, there we go. And he can explode in a hurry. We've seen that before.
Morrell off the front of the rim. Rebound to Roberts. Here is Terry. Leads Georgia with 8 points. Lost the handle. Keeps it alive. Abdul-Rahim, long three. And a long rebound.
Another opportunity on the offensive end for this Bulldog team.
Roberts. Oquendo. Calls for a screen. Gets it. Roberts. Back of the rim. Another opportunity for the Dogs. Moncrief battling inside is fouled, and he'll head to the free throw line. That foul picked up by Brakefield. That'll be his second foul. So Oquendo, he has been quiet for the last game and a half. Buries that three. Georgia's within 3. Teams in the conference, Aaliyah of Austin and number 1 South Carolina, are in Nashville to take on Vandy. That starts things off at 7. And then Angel Reese and number 5 LSU host Arkansas at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Should be another great night of hoops right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. What an LSU team. They score as well, if not better than anybody in America. They
bunches.
They are a fun watch. Kim Mulkey has certainly got that program playing very well. They might be on a collision course with South Carolina for an SEC championship this year. 38-35, our tally here. The Rebel women's basketball team off to a really good start as well in conference play. Georgia, 12-4, 2-1 in league play. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. The lone loss in that whole sequence was to Florida last Saturday on the road. Mike White talking about his club having to adapt, even though this isn't as raucous of a crowd as we saw in Gainesville. There's something about being on the road, the hurdle, the mentality that these guys have to learn to play with, hoping that they can break through today.
Well, here's where Georgia's been better when conference play started. They've taken care of the basketball better. Now, this afternoon they have 8 turnovers. Now, only had 11 in the game in the win against Auburn, only 10 down in Florida. Now, they did have 18 against Mississippi State, which Mississippi State will do that to you. But because they made so many free throws and shot at such a high level, that's what led them to that victory.
Bala thought he was fouled. He'll get back on defense. Throw down
I will say this, when Bala comes in the game, he's trying to make something happen. Did the same thing the first half.
Moncrief. Holt. Double teamed on the baseline. Tied up there. They're going to say 3-second violation against the Dogs. And there is a turnover by Georgia. Give it back to Ole Miss. Don't see the old 3-second lane violation very often.
Well,
that might be the first,
especially on the ball handler.
No.
Holt pivoted in the lane, and when they called it on number 4, that's his number. Even Mike White shook his head.
Abram.
Oh, nice.
To McInnes.
You could see that coming. Good set play, good roll to the rim, and terrific pass.
Window picks up his dribble. Roberts. That one is swatted out of there by Javius McInnes.
Oh, my.
The transfer out of Jackson State University getting up high.
The man in the mask. And then goes to retrieve it. Maybe he's going to autograph it for him.
That would be nice. That would be funny, but it would be nice.
1-on-1.
Window, no good. Rebound to McInnes.
A lot of offensive players in today's game try to get body to body and go into it. I'm surprised don't create separation by a hard bounce and a pull-up. Instead of going into the body, just pull up, go quickly up and elevate over the top to make your shot.
Abram lost the handle, goes out of bounds. It'll belong to Georgia. The Rebels lead it by 3, 13-10 to go. low-scoring games once we get to conference play. I'm just looking at that score from Lexington's 58-56, getting late. You'd think those two teams put the ball in the basket.
You get into these half-court games, right? And athletes in this league are so good defensively. They're so strong. If you bounce the ball too long, they're going to gobble you up. When you go up for a shot, even that way, it's tough to try to make. Holt is guarding Morrell. Keep an eye. Morrell likes to go to that right hand in a power move.
Morrell hangs in the air just long enough to get the pass off to McInnes, and he's fouled. Free throws coming up. That'll go against M.A. Moncrief. Hey, Tuesday night's college basketball doubleheader starts at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, but we're featuring the second game. Brandon Miller leads number 4 Alabama. They have won 4 straight against Liam Robbins and the Vanderbilt Commodores. That one's coming your way, 8:30 Eastern time, right here on the SEC Network and, of course, the ESPN app. Wednesday night will be a good night of basketball, too. We've got the rematch between Arkansas and Missouri up in...
and you had that game the first time, that the Tigers took the early lead by 17 that first half. And second half, Arkansas attacked that zone defense very effectively, not with a jump shot by off the bounce.
20 on the shot clock. Matthew Morrell will trigger it in. Georgia shooting just 33% from the field. Caldwell lost the handle for a moment. Here's Burns. Mbala. Morrell.
That matchup zone from the underneath out of bounds. Got to get your hands up.
Mbala can't handle it. Good defense by Georgia.
Pretty good pass. Mbala wasn't ready. You've got to be ready.
Hill tried to split some defenders. Instead, loses the handle. Here's Burns. Ingram chasing him down, and Burns will get the layup.
Great pass by Matthew Morrell. You know why? He looked up the floor quickly. That gets to the easy basket.
That is a rare fast break point. That is... Georgia doesn't have any, and that's just the 11th for Ole Miss. Ingram will try, top of the key 3. That's no good.
3 guys each almost had a shot, and I say almost. How quickly the Ole Miss Rebels rotated to the shooter. Difficult afternoon to get good looks and open shots.
It's crazy to see a team at this point in the game not have a single point in the fast break point department. Here's Ingram, catch and shoot. In and out, no good.
So Ingram came up limping after that rebound, but he limped to half court, then he had a dead sprint because he had an opening for a shot.
He saw a spot.
Yeah, right in front of us. He thought it's coming my way. Get there.
Right. Anselm with a screen up top. Hill to Roberts, corner 3.
Wow, that's a good look.
He got it.
Not many open looks, and Terry Roberts knocked it down. Nice pass from Justin Hill.
Timeout taken by Ole Miss as Georgia's cut this to a 1-point lead. 10:25 to go. Ole Miss by a single point. Has started, Alyssa. I mean, it just, as well as Tennessee been playing, obviously things in the Bluegrass State haven't been going very well. There's been a lot of discussion about what's next for Coach Cal. How do we get out of this? Coach Cal has publicly said, hey, this is on me. If you want to get mad at me. I mean, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, but then they pull this off. Amazing.
Yeah, and you kind of want to know where Tennessee's mindset was going into that game, right? Because everybody has kind of put the dirt and buried Kentucky.
Yeah.
And now Tennessee, one of the favorites in the country maybe to get to the Final Four. And you take a look at the rankings, and nowhere to be found is that Kentucky team, who just lost at home to South Carolina and actually was handled quite easily by South Carolina. What's it say about it says about league plays, you better be ready every day.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Kentucky's now found their way to low-scoring games, but that is a heck of a win to go on the road, especially at Tennessee.
Well, Kentucky was in that next 4-out group. They weren't even in the first 4-out group.
Good hands by Holt.
Speaking of 4, here is Holt. Oh, that one is rejected. Caldwell got up and blocked it off the backboard.
Wow. What a play by Caldwell. I thought Holt had a breakaway.
Here's White.
And with this lineup in for Ole Miss, you try to figure out where they can get buckets and where can they get scored.
Robert Allen. They're going to say last touch by Georgia. It'll stay with Ole Miss, and the shot clock will reset to 20.
So Juice Holt steps in the way here and looks like he might have an easy one. But boy, the athletic ability of T.J. Caldwell just waited for that. Impressive.
Corner 3 is perfect from James White. That's just his second 3 of the year.
Shot it like he'd made a bunch.
Hill hangs. Oh, that's a tough shot.
Smallest guy on the floor. That's 6 feet even inside amongst the big ones.
White scoring his first SEC points of the year today. All 5 have come this afternoon. Matthew Morrell kicks it out. Hey, go with a hot hand. Oh, in and out for White. White now 2 out of 12 from behind the arc on the year. No, 2 of 13. Sorry, I forgot that last minute. Got to count that.
You know, he took the shot early. He took the shot earlier in the first half with confidence. So obviously he's a shooter, right? They've given him confidence in practice to take those shots, and that's why he's in the game.
Bridges.
Such patience by Bridges.
And he'll have a 3-point opportunity coming up.
He's left-handed. We know he loves that right shoulder. He can go either way, and that's why when he hesitates, he might go back the other way for the right hand. But once he got his lead right shoulder past the equal point to the defender, Allen, then he just kept going. And Allen's on the backside. You've got no way to really stop it.
I think Holt was real excited about leaving the ball game just then.
That's good, though. You like guys who want to stay.
Roberts checks in.
Three-quarter court. Not a lot of pressure, just slowing the clock. Make it a half-court set. Brakefield, the shooter. You got Morrell also.
Caldwell. Hold underneath. Or kick basketball, so they'll reset it to 20 seconds. So Abram checks in. Caldwell to the bench. Again, no roughing on the floor for Ole Miss today. Their talented guard out with an illness today. So the backcourt rotation has been shortened for Kermit Davis. Boy, McKinnis has provided some valuable minutes. Couldn't get that one to go.
You know, it's interesting. I think Abram thought the shot clock was running down because he just kind of caught it and released it without knowing. Great block.
Boy, McKinnis with the block. Wow. Brakefield fouled, and he'll head to the line.
Wow, momentum now for Ole Miss. Brakefield with a terrific catch, but the basket is hard. That's a big running full speed at 6'8", and he able to catch it and then convert it off the backboard. Not easy to do.
So Brakefield to the free throw line, the 6'8" junior.
Here's the block. Now watch the run out. Brakefield's on the right side of your screen, and when he catches this, he's so close to the bucket. Almost hits his head underneath on the backboard. Still converts the three-point play.
Brakefield coming off 12 points against Auburn. He's averaged over 13 points his last 4 games. Brakefield with 7 today and 4 rebounds. Bridges, that one's almost intercepted. Hill. He will find the hot hand, and Roberts, who knocks home a 3.
Quite close to a steal by Morrell. He doesn't get it. One more swing of the basketball, you get an open 3, and that's Roberts' second 3 from that left side.
14 points for Roberts to lead all the Bulldogs, to lead everybody in the game in scoring. Morrell, cross-court pass. White, good little ball fake. Up and under move, left it short. Here's Roberts. Now Hill will run the point. Transfer from Houston, Texas.
I like the push, Dave. I like you survey, see if you have anything you don't. I'll see what you can get in a half-court set. Here's where they've had success.
Oquendo. Boy, our 18th lead change.
Possession by possession. Who comes up with good shots, and then who can convert? There's one.
Matthew Morrell with his second 3 of the game.
6:25 left. There's one possession, Ole Miss, and they knock one in.
Roberts defended nicely by James White. Roberts gets his own miss. That rebound hauled out of there by Brakefield. Abram.
Again, possession to possession. 1-0, Ole Miss, right? With 6 to go. So here's their second possession. Can you get a shot? Can you get a quality shot? And can you convert?
Abram.
Difficult shot. I thought he had an easy one. Then he made it tough.
Now up to 12 points for the freshman.
2 in a row, possession. Conversion. It's almost that simple in SEC play. Georgia's got to have an answer.
Oquendo takes it right to the basket.
Oh, my goodness.
Nobody's going to block that one.
Power.
Man, I thought that was going to be a floater high off the backboard.
It's hard to see from our seats because of the coaching staff that's in front of us. My goodness.
Abram, step back. Not a good shot. Long rebound to Hill. Rebels by 2, under 5 to play. Here's Hill. His little floater is good. Offensive foul, though. Wave it off.
Good job by Brakefield. But, man.
Looks like John Sumple back in there.
It's possession to possession. Oquendo, who's had somewhat of a frustrating afternoon, hasn't done much offensively, but with authority, Bulldogs within 2. Great game here in Oxford.
SEC Network and, of course, the ESPN app. Great show, always entertaining. SEC Inside. Been entertaining, albeit there have been moments of maybe not the most efficient offensive work, but if you're a defensive guy, there's probably been a lot of plays here you would enjoy. The bottom line is this one's coming down to the wire. 2-point Ole Miss lead, 4:44 to play.
Well, I think this is what we thought, and I think this is what the coaches thought this game would be, right? It's 2 teams that guard the heck out of you, make it hard to score. You always wonder, can an offensive player make really difficult shots and which guy can get on a roll. And we've had good offensive play.
Second half certainly has been better in that regard.
It has been.
We have had 19 lead changes in this game, 5 ties. And again, Ole Miss, both these teams sitting on streaks they'd like to break. Georgia's lost 16 straight true road games, and Ole Miss has lost 5 straight games overall.
Court trap.
Break field. Trying to get it to Caldwell, do so. They can run their offense with 17 on the shot clock. Matthew Morrell. McInnes.
And not a big score inside, but he got deep enough and right next to the rim for an easy 2.
McInnes with 7 and 5 rebounds.
And only averages basically 4 and 4.
Yeah, he has definitely provided a spark for Ole Miss today. Oquendo, tough shot.
Wow. We know his ability to turn the corner, put pressure on the backside of the defense.
7 for Oquendo. After going a game and a half without a basket. Well, that's going to be a foul again. Holt. So that'll get us to our under 4 media timeout. The Rebels lead at 56-54. Back in a moment.
It's not there.
Amari Abram this afternoon has led this Ole Miss team on the offensive end. 12 points, the most he's scored since early in November against Oklahoma. He's done it in a variety of ways. Good jump shots, also has 5 assists. The starting spot at the point guard position. I think he's been fabulous now. Can he handle the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds and get his team into good-looking shots? Or does Ole Miss, which has struggled down the stretch of games, winning possession by possession, can they figure this one out?
Yeah, I think that's a great question to ask about Abram. How is he going to handle the final 3 minutes of this game when the ball will be in his hands, no doubt. They got to set things up, but regardless, it has been a nice afternoon for the freshman. Terry Roberts, he's been around, played a lot of basketball, the graduate transfer. He's at 14 and came in averaging 15.7, 6th best in the league.
Well, again, it's amazing about Georgia guards. There's 7 rebounds. They got 8 guys that average over 3 rebounds a game, and when I look at their guards, Roberts is nearly at 4, Oquendo's about at 4, Justin Hill at 6 foot is at 3 rebounds a game. Mike White obviously has emphasized that his squad may not be the thickest inside. They've got some height, but not thickness. And he's got to have all 5 guys rebound.
So Ole Miss will trigger it in.
5 seconds.
Boy, there's a jersey grab right there by Roberts. Even I saw that one. Surprised he didn't rip it.
Boy, that was close to 5.
Oh, yeah. Georgia with 5 team fouls. Ole Miss was only 2 team fouls this half. Morrell.
Wow. Holt's done a heck of a job defensively on Morrell. Chase him around screens, get picked and pushed and shoved, but he stayed with him and made it difficult for Matthew Morrell to try to finish at the rim.
Bridges to Holt.
Loves to go to his right, downhill.
And he goes to his right and he goes downhill, but McInnes with another block. Breakfield. Burns threw it away. Was trying to get it back to McInnes.
And almost because they knew they had numbers, then they got rushed. They had numbers, then they didn't have numbers, and the rush to make a play causes the turnover.
McInnes with 3 blocks. this afternoon. Bridges, shot clock again at 7. Quindo, step back, then elevates. Oh, man, what a tough shot right over Caldwell.
Has he not made big plays, massive plays in the last 5 minutes of this ballgame?
Georgia back out in front by 1. Our 20th lead change and a timeout taken by Ole Miss.
Shot clock winding down, hanging out up top. His teammates are in front of him, talking about the clock running down. They're counting for it. Pump fake once, Freed himself, drops it in.
It's the second time he has hit a 3 with under 5 on a shot clock today. Quindo now with 10 points, 4 of 9 from the field. There's our game reset for you. A couple of timeouts left for Georgia, just 1 for the Rebels. A lot of fouls to give for Ole Miss. And the big possession arrow favors the Dogs down the stretch.
Well, Ole Miss needs a good possession. Abram has been out for the last minute and a half. Let's see if he comes back in. Holt, who's done a heck of a job on Matthew Morrell, chasing around screens, making it difficult, making him work, making a good shooter work so that he doesn't get an easy look. Yeah, Abram back in.
Amari with a dozen points to lead Ole Miss today on 6 of 13 has yet to hit a three-pointer. He's 0 for 5 from behind the arc. Now Morrell, catch, shoot, too strong. Kermit Davis just looks down at his coaches and says, I don't know what we're doing.
Well, it's a tough shot.
Yeah.
For a guy who hasn't made a lot of threes.
And I think that's exactly what his reaction was about.
Shot clock won't reset. It did not hit the rim.
Georgia trying to spread it out for Roberts. Elevates for 3. In and out. Tapped around, and the battle for the basketball won by Brakefield.
Here we go, partner. Each possession. Who gets the looks? Roberts had a good one. That ball went halfway in, came back out. Instead of up 4, you're only up 1. Now you're on the defensive side. Abrams has to find an answer. Holt, good defender.
Little floater by Abram off the mark, tapped around. Abram gets it back, throws it up, no good. McKinnis' tap won't go. Like a pinball in the paint, and a foul against Ole Miss. McKinnis with the foul, and Georgia will inbound it.
Great job by Juice Holt as he comes out of the lineup now.
Roberts, Hill, and Oquindo in the backcourt for Georgia. As Ole Miss sets up some of this pressure. They'll get it to Oquindo.
Roberts an 83% free throw shooter. Hill 77. Oquindo nearly 80. Oh my, what a shot from the corner.
He's feeling it today, specifically the second half.
We had asked the question, where's Cario Oquindo? Well, in the last 7 minutes of this game, he has responded and said, here I am, and this is how Georgia can get a victory on the road. He's hit a couple threes, hit a couple drives, and none more clutch than that one somewhat early in the shot clock. But he was open. He just hit a 3 prior down on the possession before. Massive plays down the stretch from the junior guard.
Just clutch shooting from Cario Oquindo, who's now up to 13 points. He and Roberts in double figures for Georgia. Roberts with 14, but in the second half has belonged to Cario Oquindo. It's an 8-0 Georgia run. Oquindo, all 13 of his points in the second half on 5 of 8 shooting, 3 of 4 from behind the arc.
You know, Dave, we talk about who makes a play, right? Two teams are pretty even. Played great defense all game. Shots are taken. But who's going to make the shots? Who's going to step up, make shots? And down this stretch, Oquindo has been fabulous. making difficult shots. He had the dunk down the lane. Shot clock winded down from the top of the key. He made that three. Now he makes it from the corner. Huge moments. And on the other end, Ole Miss has not made those shots.
You're right. Largest lead of the game for Georgia is right now at 4 points.
So they put the ball in Morrell's hands. They stick Abram in the left corner. Morrell, big driver downhill going to his right.
And he goes to his right and drives to the basket.
Defenders somewhat get out of the way because they don't want to foul.
And a foul. Break field.
Moncrief, 56% free throw shooter, but they're not shooting yet. Got to beat the ball, got to come to the ball.
Moncrief almost traveled with it. Instead gets it to the right guy, and that is Roberts. Gets it across the midcourt stripe. Now Georgia will try to chew up some of this clock right here. Back to Hill. About 8 seconds separating the clocks. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Out of bounds. It's going to belong to Georgia.
Boy, one-on-one. Hill against Abram. Abram made the little reach and knock it away. They're going to check this.
Make sure it was last touched by Ole Miss.
Georgia very comfortable when Justin Hill had the ball. Shot clock winded down. And had him isolated all on the right side of this floor.
Anthony Jordan on your left, Steve Anderson on your right, getting a good look at the last play. And we will look at it as well.
So is that the reach there with the hand knocks it out of bounds?
Yeah,
I think it's Georgia's
yeah,
ball.
I think they got it. I think Abram left hand.
Yeah. I tell you, that's tough for a freshman. They put you one-on-one defensively out on an island all by yourself. Active hands knocked it away. Hard angle to see, but that left hand gets in there. Low crossover by Hill. So sideline out of bounds.
So it will leave just 4 seconds on the shot clock.
We'll see what plays drawn up by Mike White. Defensively, Ole Miss has to be solid. They've got to get the rebound. You got two huge shot makers that are on Georgia's squad. We've seen Terry Roberts and we've seen Cario Oquendo make big shots in situations. Got to make sure if Georgia shoots the ball, they've got to get back defensively. Especially if there's a long shot, could be a long rebound and a push by Ole Miss.
They will trigger it in to Roberts. 2 on the shot clock. Lets it go. No good. And a rebound by Bridges to the tie-up, but the arrow favors Georgia.
Well, you're doing a long shot. The ball's going to come out hot and hot. And Bridges, aggressive, active, quickly to that rebound. Now underneath, out of bounds, seeing if there could be a quick foul.
There's Bridges, quickly fouled by McInnes with just 6.1 seconds on the clock. So Bridges will step to the free throw line, 75% at the line this year. Actually, not yet. We're still not there. That's
Wow, isn't that
okay.
amazing? Of how aggressive both
Okay.
teams have been defensively.
That's just the 5th, so they got to foul again before Georgia stepped to the line.
Quickly. Underneath, out of bounds again because of where he caught it. Watch for the same action.
So Burns with the foul. So for Burns, that'll be just his second. Nobody in foul trouble, obviously, if they didn't have any fouls in the second half.
Now remember, Moncrief is a 56% free throw shooter.
And he is going to line up right in the middle of that paint.
You know, it'd be interesting if you threw a quick lob to Moncrief for a basket, although no one would try that, but that might have been open.
Timeout taken by Georgia.
I say that, it'd be crazy, because Georgia's not guarding that play.
Ole Miss isn't guarding him.
I mean, Ole Miss is not guarding that play, correct.
Well, Georgia takes the timeout. One timeout remaining for Ole Miss. Georgia trying to hold on. They have lost 16 straight on the road. They're 0-3 in true road games this year. It's just a remarkable story if they can hold on. This is a team that was just 1-17 in conference play last year, and they're a few seconds away from their third SEC win in Mike White's first season.
A team that continues to grow and be confident, especially with a couple of the new faces. You mentioned Terry Roberts and how well he's done, and Justin Hill. Guys that have added to this squad that all of a sudden they're confident that they can win down the stretch. Now a different look from underneath, out of bounds by this Bulldog team.
Oquendo with the catch, and he's
Gotta
going to
get
stand
quickly.
right there before he gets popped a couple of times. 3 seconds remaining.
Morrell went for the steal, close to having it. It's a tough pass inbounds. Oquendo, 78% free throw shooter, but he has been the star. Down the stretch, big bucket after big bucket.
Oquendo's been the story for the Dogs. It is just a game and a half without scoring for a guy that's a scorer.
Yeah.
And he said, enough of this.
And his confidence didn't wane. Let's see if he can seal this game right here at the free throw line. Look where he stands at the free throw line. Let's see if he steps. I think he stays back a little
Yeah,
bit.
a couple inches off the line.
Where his comfort level is.
And gets them both, and that'll do it.
What a second half. What a second half. Macario Oquendo.
And that'll get the folks heading for the exits here at Ole Miss. And this streak will go to 6 consecutive for the Rebels and 0-5 in league play. And they'll fall under 500, 8-9 overall. And another game where they had a second half lead and can't close them out.
Yeah, never a big lead, but a lead that is, we talked about it, Dave, each possession. We talked about 6 minutes ago. What player makes plays when you have a tight possession game? And so the winner of that question was Oquendo, right?
Yeah.
He was the one who made big shot after big shot on each half-court possession. And the answer is Ole Miss missed some
I was going to
shots.
say, who you would think Morrell would be that guy, but
He missed
just
the one
is-
deep in the
yeah.
corner, right? Abram missed the one deep in the left corner. Maybe both of those I thought kind of early, but you'd say the same thing on Oquendo's shot. Probably was early in the shot clock over on that left corner, but he made it. I mean, it's the guys that step up and make the bucket to make the play, and it's sports is that way. It's the player that makes the play, and then a coach gets a lot of credit or not.
Right.
But you take a look at those numbers when you've got an all-league type player that steps in and decides that in key moments, I'll drive it downhill and dunk it. I'll drive it downhill and get fouled. I'll make the three from the top of the key. I'll make the three from the corner and another three. Yeah, that's the difference of a ball game.
in the last 14 minutes of this game. Oquendo with 12 points. And look, this is a big stretch for Georgia. They've got 5 of their next 7 are on the road, and they take on Kentucky on the road in their next game.
It looks like Big Blue Nation woke up a little bit today.
Abram will fire away at the horn. So Ole Miss will drop to 8-9, 0-5 in league play. Georgia goes to 13-4. This is a team that was picked 13th in the SEC. They're 3-1 in conference play. And they snap a 16-game road losing streak in true road games.
Well, Georgia came on the road, did what they had to do. Oquendo makes the plays down the stretch. Great win for this Bulldog squad.
Georgia will leave Oxford's Mike White comes back to the place he played so many years and was an assistant coach. He leaves with a smile on his face. Time to wrap it up. Get you to the studio. Alyssa.
Great stuff out in Oxford, guys. Nice win for the Georgia Bulldogs as we welcome you into SEC now. Pat Bradley, Ron Slay, Alyssa Lang here with you. Slay, your first day in studio with us here at the SEC Network. You got the orange tie.
Yes. This is the only thing I have.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I think those are the only colors that you have. We're happy to have you. Let's talk about the game that we just saw go final. I think we heard it a few times from the guys out there, PB. Not necessarily a beautiful game of offense, but a close and exciting one down the stretch. What stood out to you about the way Georgia was able to hang on?
How about Georgia? They win a game against Mississippi State scoring 58 points. They win today scoring 62, but they've only given up 50 points in 2 consecutive games. The other side of that is Terry Roberts. When you have a guard, a point guard, that you can give the ball to, he takes care of the basketball. My man had 5 assists and 1 turnover against an Ole Miss defensive team. Switches, gets up in you chest to chest. You go on the road with a guy like that, you get a chance.
Yeah, you always have a chance when you go on the road with a guy like that. But this is the thing that impressed me. Georgia out-rebounding them. 12 offensive rebounds over Ole Miss. You give your team second chances to do that anywhere. I don't care if it's home, neutral site, on the road, you can get a victory. So Georgia, kudos to them.
We'll talk to head coach Mike White coming up in just a few moments, waiting for him to, of course, talk to the team, put the headset on, and we'll get his take on this dub. On the other side, Ole Miss moves to 0-5 in conference play. It's been a tough start to the season for them so far. If you're Coach Kermit Davis, what are you saying to your team after this one?
Well, first of all, we got to have everybody buy in. At some point in practice, in the game, everything we're talking about in the film room has to transfer to the floor. And you got to do it details, piece by piece. It's not going to come overnight. It's not going to happen in one half. It's going to have to go minute by minute. And you got to break the game that way. So Kermit is a guy that can get it done.
Yeah, he demands a lot, right? Like all these coaches do. They demand a lot. But I think with Coach Davis, you have to be locked in because he's got so many defenses. Yeah. He's got his full court, his 1-3-1. And with that comes a lot of teaching and instinct and how to rotate, when to rotate. They just haven't been doing it. And I think on the offensive end, too, without their point guard, Deshaun Ruffin, Matthew Morrell still is one of the most explosive scorers in the league. But without Ruffin, Abram played really well. That's going to be an issue, too. You got to get Ruffin back.
I was going to say, without being 100% healthy, certainly at this point in conference play, that's challenging no matter who you are. But as we said, for Kentucky, there's still time.
However, it is January 14th, right? Teams, I'm telling you, what we see today, the product, isn't what we're going to see at the end of February, the first week in March, which is where hopefully that you're hitting your stride for a lot of these teams. We're going to be sitting here a lot of Saturdays saying, is this the same team we saw 2 weeks ago? And it's not the same team we're going to see 2 weeks from now.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
and
part of it.
We talk about that with Georgia, right? We weren't exactly sure what Georgia was going to look like at the beginning of conference play. You talk about someone like Kario Oquendo, 15 points, 2 rebounds on the day. What does he do for this Georgia team?
Well, I'll tell you what, he gives you another guy that can go get a bucket at any point. And then on the other end of the floor, he can go out there and defend. Mike White has a cheat code, though. He's been in this league before. He's not really a new coach. So.
And speaking of head coach Mike White, he joins us now. I think he's marking up the stat sheet, looking at all the numbers post-win. Coach, congratulations. It's not easy to win in this league on the road, certainly when it comes down to the wire like this one. What'd you tell your team in the second half?
Boy, a lot. Crazy. No cheat codes here. These are tough to come by. You guys mentioned it. Kario Oquendo just really picked up his game. He struggled for the majority, the first, 2/3 of the game, and really came on late, made some huge plays, did some things defensively. Credit his mental toughness. his resolve just to keep pushing through it. And he's coming off a game where he didn't score, right? And we all know he's one of the most prolific scorers in the league. Our guys continue to get him in space and get him shots. I thought he hit a couple really hard ones late. And that's what we needed. I mean, Ole Miss is really, they've played such a difficult schedule. They're a really good team, and obviously everyone in this league is probably a little bit better at home.
Coach, second game that your defense gives up 50 points, now 58 points. What is it about the makeup and the character of this team that they're buying into what you're selling defensively?
We've just got some basketball character. We're starting to learn that. And I say that, and I hold my breath, hoping we don't take a couple steps backward anytime in the near future. And whether that results in a win or a loss in this league, it really doesn't matter. As long as we continue to get better, we'll put ourselves in positions to have chances, of course. This is a grueling league. But our guys, they fight. You know, they come to practice every day. We hadn't had a bad practice in months. These guys they battle for one another. We've got a pretty high level of connection. Guys like each other. And I think our guys understand that we've got to defend at a really high level as we continue to try to progress and develop offensively. Wasn't pretty offensive, of course. Ole Miss had a lot to do with that. But I thought we did a really good job. Led by our perimeter defensively. I thought we were in a stance for the most part. We defended the glass at a pretty high level. Ole Miss is prolific on the offensive glass. Got to continue to get better there. But it's obviously a good win for us.
Yeah, Coach, you were able to go get a victory on the road, which are hard to come by in this conference. Not a cheat code, but being able to navigate this conference and know what you need out of your guys day in and day out. 12 offensive rebounds, physicality, you bringing that to the game. Is that preached in practice, or are these guys just turning it on and finally figuring it out?
You know, offensive rebound has been our biggest strength all year. We've hovered around top 10 to top 25-ish. I don't know where our number was this morning. I didn't check it. I was more concerned with Ole Miss, of course. But, you know, especially when we've got one of our conventional fives out there with M.A. Moncrief. He's hard to block out. We've got some length at the wing position. We've got some guys that play pretty hard. So we just, like everyone in our league, I mean, this is an offensive rebounding league. This is a defensive league. We happened to continue to get a few. We needed every one of them. We were very fortunate to come in here and get this one, of course. Hit a couple hard ones late. Continue to convert at the foul line, which is a good sign, too. It helps you win on the road.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the dub. As we said, always challenging to go on the road. Thanks for sticking around a few minutes for us. Now we'll let you get back to Athens.
I know Dave and Sonny dipped out, so I had to hold it down for those guys.
Oh, see, you're a true professional.
You'd rather talk to us anyway. Dave and Sonny,
no
they get a 2-hour time limit.
That's right. Great stuff.
Yeah, on to the next. They're doing games tonight. Yeah. All right, take care, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, best of luck getting back to Athens.
If I can add one thing, when you go on the road, I got my road recipe, right?
Yes.
It's taking care of the basketball. They didn't turn it over against an Ole Miss team that likes to do, that has the makeup to turn you over. Number one, they don't do that. Second thing, you know you're not going to shoot well on the road, man, right? Yep. So they get on the offensive glass. So they're kind of built. In their defense is their priority. They get down to defend. So they're built like that. And they didn't send them to the free throw line. Defend without fouling.
That's big.
The road recipe, courtesy of
the road recipe. But cooking something up.
You got something in this lunch pail.
Saw that one go
Somebody
final
had a
right
good
here
road game.
on the SEC Network.
Okay, big fella.
I'm all right. I'm going to be all right.
We're going to do some deep breathing with Slay over here. Kentucky on the road taking on Tennessee. Candace Parker, Allen Houston in the house because Chris Lofton's jersey retired.